So as someone who looked at so many submissions and validated or invalidated them, can you give some tips for Watson on Wardens, or how is it called in Code Hawks? Hawks?
Hawks.
Yeah. Like how to make a good submission. Like how do you, like you as a judge, when you look at a submission and you like, okay, this is a good one, I'm going to validate it and maybe even choose it as the best, because there are usually duplicates. So, and there is one submission that becomes like the best submissions and gets some extra points and extra money, right? In most of the platforms. So how would you help like Watsons to write good submissions? What tips can you give them?
Yeah, I think I focus on two important things. One thing is how easily I understand the issue from reading their like submission. So how well can they like keep it succinct or short, but still explain the issue at hand really well. But of course, this is like debatable, right? There are like a lot of complex issues that require a pretty long explanation. Yeah. So that would be my only exception. Second
Try
is
to
like,
keep it short. Try to keep it short, but informative.
Okay? Yes, correct. And then second would be definitely a POC, because it then doesn't necessarily have to be a coded POC, but if like there's a written scenario or the analysis with like the walkthrough or the function flows, then it will like really help me understand the impact of the issue, you know? Like, because some people just mention the root cause of the issue and then I will have to like go into the contracts myself and verify it. I mean, like, it will help if you include a coded POC or like a walkthrough of a scenario with like links to the specific affected code lines. So I don't have to like go into the code base myself and look at the issues. So that will like help me understand the issue better.
That makes sense. So code and function references help a lot. POC doesn't have to be coded. You can just write the function calls like, one, I do this, second, I do that. Correct. Then the change is being stayed. Then I do that, right? Something like that.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
Yeah. So it's not a very frequent occurrence in Sherlock because Sherlock don't really incentivize good reports. They don't have like a bonus for good reports like Codorina. So yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like a rare side that at the moment I see it, I will probably make it the best report.
Yeah. And do you prefer like a coded POC in Foundry or Hardit, or you prefer like those step-by-step descriptions?
Whatever that is comfortable for the Watson. But of course, coded POC is like a way of saying I prove the issue and I verify it completely, like 100%, I prove this issue. Of course, assuming the test is correct. Yeah, so coded POC is always like the absolute proof to an issue.
And are you usually gonna take those coded POC in Foundry or Hardit and run them on your local machine and validate?
Of course, you have to verify it yourself. I mean, some simple tests you can look at it and verify it as it's correct, but most of the time you have to verify the test yourself.
Aren't you scared to run this code on your machine? Because if I'm a malicious Watson, I can put sometimes it's JavaScript if it's Hardit. I can make a JavaScript that downloads. Okay, you are not coming from traditional cybersecurity, but in one line in JavaScript, I can download and run malware on your machine because you're running a code that I wrote. Just an idea that my malicious mindset like came about it right now. When you just copy code and paste it. If it's Solidity, I'm not sure, but it would be an interesting. I just thought about it right now, but it could be like an interesting phishing kind of attack vectors where you can either attack the judges. Imagine, I'm scared to say it out loud now on the channel because people might start doing that. Malicious people, black hats.
Oh man!
We come up with new attack vectors, I just submit a finding in Hardit or JavaScript. Maybe I will remove it from the interview, or maybe not. I don't know. It's an attack vector. So I just submit a POC in JavaScript and just very obfuscated one line of code that just downloads from a URL an executable. And then the next line of code, just launch it on your machine and it's a Trojan horse. that steals your private keys. Just an idea.
I have to be more careful now then.
So yeah, I just gave an idea for black hats what they can do to and manipulate. But usually, I think you need to be validated in code. You can just submit findings.
No, that's not the case for Sherlock.
Yeah, so just be careful before you run any code, especially if it's something that comes through submissions. Just make sure that you don't, if it's JavaScript, I don't know how it will work with Foundry and Solidity code. If you can, I don't think in Solidity you can download something from the internet and execute it on your machine, but in JavaScript you definitely can. JavaScript you definitely can.
Recently I judged the first flight, and then there's this test, it's called the FFI test. It's like on Foundry, and then apparently there's a possibility to like perform some arbitrary execution on your like Windows terminal or something like that if you run that test.
So it's probably possible also in Foundry. I didn't know that, but I will. If you what is the name of the first flight? Santa something, right?
Santa and
Santa M. So yeah, Patrick Collins says malicious malicious mindset. So he thought about this attack vector, I guess, and tried to trick the judges or like the hawks. But it's interesting attack vector. It attacked because it's something that we see a lot now in LinkedIn. That people send you a DM and tell you, hey, we have a job position, $200K per year. Can you take a look at this repository and see if you can fix the bug as your test? And then if you download this repository, it's a malicious code that tries to steal your .env file and your private keys, and then they steal your crypto, which is bad. So, so if you're someone who is in Web3 security, make sure what you run on your machine, either if you're a judge or a Watson, or Warden or Hawk, whatever, and also use Ledger wallet, because if you have a Ledger hardened wallet, then even if someone steals your private key to your MetaMask wallet, he will not be able to steal your hardened wallet money because it's stored in the device itself. Now, if you have the seed phrase somewhere on your machine stored as a recovery and someone has a Trojan horse, obviously can steal this file and then recover and steal your Ledger funds. So you need to be more sophisticated of how you store your recovery seed phrase, also your recovery words. So, but this is another concept, like traditional cybersecurity hacks that we see actually a lot in like Web3, these traditional phishing attacks, but it's out of context for this interview. This is like something that
that's like a great tip, everybody runs arbitrary tests every day. Yeah. Maybe even
think about it. You're running a code on your machine. So on my ad, I have a MacBook, and you maybe have a MacBook, or if you're on Windows, then exe file, executable files are very dangerous. You don't just run executable files, also MSI and more. In Windows, it's horrible. But in Mac, it's DMG files. So every time I download a DMG file, I upload it to VirusTotal before to check. But we forget that when we run open source code, it's also code that runs on your machine that has permission. So when you run JavaScript or Solid code, apparently with Foundry, maybe you can run commands on the machines and run commands. Also, I'm coming from traditional Web2 security, from traditional cybersecurity. Running commands on your machine means installing malware / Trojan on your machine, and installing Trojan, it could be RAT, remote administrative tool, which allows you to browse the file system, to turn on the camera, to do all kinds of malicious things, steal private keys, whatever, key logging, even if you put your password somewhere, someone can log the keyboards. And this is a traditional cybersecurity, and it's very interesting as well.
Oh, interesting. That's a very good advice. Everybody should verify before they execute anything.
Yeah, always read the code before you execute it on your machine.